Cool. So this week in our building session, we are building an agent that will help us prioritize our tasks better. So we're demonstrating, or I'm demonstrating, the Notion tool in order to do that. And what this agent will do is use its Notion tool to check a database of to-do list items that a fictional employee that I've created called Buzz Comwell maintains. So he keeps his to-do list in Notion. And what the agent is going to do is check his to-do lists. We'll do this in a chat thread, but it's also possible to schedule a task to get it to do it regularly. It's going to check his to-do lists, and then it is going to compare what he's got on his to-do list and how he has prioritized those things against a couple of key documents. One is the sales and marketing goals for his fictional employer for the fourth quarter of this year. And the other is a document that has some background on Buzz and his employment history and where he was working before. So, oh, hey, Dan. Thanks for jumping in. I'm just getting started the recording. So this agent is going to have two key documents in its knowledge base. One is that Q4 sales and marketing document. And the other is a bit of background on Buzz, this fictional employee, and where he has previously worked. So I'll start to share my screen. I'm going to move this over here as well. And then I'll show those documents before we get started. Cool. So the key documents that this agent is going to have is some sales and marketing goals or key objectives for the fourth quarter of this year for a fictional company that this fictional employee works for. Those are going to be in the knowledge base for this agent. And the other document that it's going to have, and this can be super powerful, is some backstory on this employee, this fictional employee, where he worked before, the stuff that he likes and dislikes. So you could create this for yourself. And the reason that I had this tab open as well is, in case you're not familiar with Clifton Strengths, it's a really powerful way to learn more about yourself and what your own strengths and weaknesses are. If you have a document like this, then the power of giving it to an agent as knowledge-based information is actually pretty massive. So I've created a very simple version of this here with Buzz's backstory. And let me put that one over there. So now we're going to build the agent, and let me show you quickly the to-do list as well. So this is the Notion to-do list that this agent is going to work on with us. This is, again, it's a made-up to-do list that Buzz maintains. This is his workload. We've got priority level on the left, due date on the right, and a bit of information about each task in here as well. So what I'm going to do first of all is grab our prompt writing assistant. So inside my workspace, I'll go browse agents, and there's an agent called prompt writer down here. So now this agent's inside my workspace. I'm just going to have effectively just a natural conversation. I'm going to give it a prompt, and it's then going to write the instructions for the agent that we're going to build. Let me just open up my speech to text. Here we go. We'll leave that for later. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to it. Could you please write me instructions for a prioritization agent? It should be capable of using its Notion tool to retrieve and update pages from a database and help Buzz Comwell to prioritize his workload to contribute better to the sales and marketing goals in Q4 of this year. It should also have knowledge base of Buzz's backstory so that it can use that information to help Buzz understand himself and why maybe he chooses to prioritize the way he does so that he can learn to prioritize more effectively. In order to achieve this, the agent will have two documents in its knowledge base, and those will be Buzz's backstory and the Q4 sales and marketing goals. The agent's job is to check Buzz's priority list in Notion using its Notion tools and communicate productively and supportively with Buzz to help him reprioritize. Cool. So it's just hopefully going to transcribe that into text and then I'll send it. One last thing that I'm going to ask it to do, because I've seen a little bit of strange behavior with this prompt writing agent over the last day or two, is just going to say, please don't output any implementation guidelines. I can build it without implementation guidelines. And please just output the instructions inside a code block using XML. So I've just asked it to structure them a specific way and output them a specific way. It's not super important. It's just a habit that I've got into, and it allows the models to read the instructions quite nicely. So this agent should now write us some instructions for this new agent that we're building. Cool. So once we've got these instructions, I'm going to create this new agent, and then we'll give it the Notion tool, and we'll take it for a test run and see if it can get the to-do list items out of Notion. And we'll also make sure that the agent's got those knowledge base documents. I could do that actually whilst it's writing. So I'll come to the content area. I'll create a new folder called prioritization. And I think I've got these in my downloads. Yeah, cool. So now those documents are in the content area associated to this workspace. So as long as we build this new agent inside the same workspace, we can then give it access to the content. It looks like this is finished. So ordinarily, if I wasn't building this super quickly, I would be reading these really carefully to make sure it's not adding anything in there that I don't want it to do. But for the purpose of this, I've just copied those instructions. I'm now going to go create agent. We'll pick its profile picture and we'll call it prioritization buddy. Helps Buzz to prioritize his workload better. And I'll paste those instructions in there and pick a model. And interestingly, I've found over the last couple of days that different models interact better or worse with the Notion integration. So Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is probably my favorite reasoning model to use, doesn't always get the tool call right. So try this yourself if you build one of these that's calling Notion, and see which models you can get to do it best. I'm going to go with 3.7 Sonnet because I've had pretty good success with it. I'm turning down the temperature as well, just to get it to adhere to the system instructions without getting too creative. I will turn off web search access because it doesn't need it. Let's set its content area documents first, and then I'll do the Notion integration. So inside the prioritization folder, I wanted to have this one and this one. Those are now assigned to the agent. The last job is authenticating the Notion tool. So we go add Notion and allow it to have all of those different scopes. I'm just going to authenticate for this workspace so that I'm not sharing it beyond this workspace for now. And we're in the right Notion. This is a really important part. If you're authenticating the Notion tool, you're selecting the pages that you're allowing this Notion tool or this agent to access. And if you don't select the right pages, then when you're trying to get the agent to do something, it has no access and it will tell you it can't see it. So for me, the to-do list it's a child page of home. So as long as it has home, it should get all of the child pages. So now that should be authenticated. Yeah, Notion tools attached. Content area stuff is attached. Sharing only to the one workspace that I'm working in. So now we'll take it for a spin. And the first thing I'm going to do is see whether it can get the to-do list items from this database. And then we'll start to ask it to help Buzz to reprioritize. Could you use your Notion tool, please, and get all of the current items from my to-do list? So that's a pretty basic or kind of vague prompt. I haven't told it that it's in a database. That might help it, especially if there was loads of content inside Notion and there was multiple databases, even if they've got similar names, it can start to trip it up. But it should be able to find this because there's only one database in there and it's called to-do list. So let's see how it goes. So we should get descriptions of, it's going to give us tool call descriptions. It's looking for it. This is 3.7 Sonnet, which looks like it's going to nail it first time. Things go wrong with these models, right? And when you're building stuff, if something goes wrong, just like with a human employee, you just got to give it a little bit more guidance. Fortunately, from an AI perspective, you can change the model really quickly, and sometimes that's all that you need to do. So it's retrieved all of our to-do list items and it's returning them to us in the order, the sections that they're prioritized into. So let's just double check that. Update all email signatures, September 15th, and it's set to highest priority. So update all email signatures, September 15th, highest priority. So it looks like it's nailed that. So what I'm going to ask it to do next is help to reprioritize against the Q4 goals. Okay, can you take a look at how these tasks are prioritized and compare them against the Q4 sales and marketing goals document in your knowledge base? I would like your help to understand whether I'm prioritizing effectively and maybe some support to reprioritize and help me understand where I went wrong. So it should hopefully do exactly that and give us some tips. I think it's also important to sort of point out that this only works and is effective when the quality of the context that you're giving it is like really high. So I'm using a synthetic document, which is this one here, sales and marketing objectives, but yours doesn't have to be synthetic. It can be your actual sales and marketing objectives, or it could be something else that's not related to objectives. But I guess I want to stress that the less noise you can give it and the higher the quality of the content that it's looking at and working with, the more deliberate and accurate its outputs are going to be. So now it is telling us there are three main objectives in the Q4 sales and marketing objectives. It's explaining where we're misaligned. So potentially prioritizing things that aren't contributing in the right ways. This one, for example, currently marked as low priority, despite being one of the direct company goals. So you start to see how it can be effective. And I also think where this is probably most valuable, especially inside a personal or a private workspace, is this part here. It's saying kind of, I understand why you might prioritize this way. I can see from your backstory that you were into brand marketing and you're all about how things look. And it's educating the user in a collaborative kind of co-worker sort of way. And that's super powerful, I think. And the more you could give it about backstory or strengths, like a Clifton Strengths document, the more learning opportunity you get from an agent that has really tight instructions on supporting you to be more productive or more efficient or have better conversations or I guess personal context is really important, and using the right context against maybe other public documents like the sales and marketing thing can have quite a lot of power. So it's 18 minutes past. I think we got through that quite quickly, and it looks like it's working. So it's not a case of building exactly this agent. I want to always design these sessions to help you to sort of bridge the gap between, I know the potential of this technology and I'm not quite sure how to apply it or where to apply it. So this is just one example, and these sessions always are just one example of different pieces of informational context that you can give these models. And because they're so good at language and prediction, the results you can get from them are actually really powerful. So I'll leave the demonstration part there. If you've got any questions, then we can take questions, and failing that, then we can wrap up a little bit early.